at SportsCenter. In this corner, Nolan Ryan. In this corner, Robin Ventura. Let's get ready to rumble. Ricky and the Jays were in New York battling the Yanks, while Aaron and the Sox hope to punch out the Twins. Could the Braves answer the bell against the Phils? On the gridiron, the Jets got a visit from a good friend, and the Chiefs, hey, that ain't football. There'll be no ballroom brawls here. SportsCenter is next.
Put both to use Wednesday night, one of the most interesting nights in this baseball season. Things have been getting tense in the AL West. The pennant race turning physical with a couple of brawls recently. But there were few who could have expected what happened Wednesday in Arlington, with Texas 7 back in the loss column, sending legend Nolan Ryan against first-place Chicago. The all-time leader in strikeouts would get a punch-out of a very different sort in Texas. So the highlight to this game, it was 2-0 White Sox when Alex Fernandez comes inside on Juan Gonzalez. So the very next half inning, Robin Ventura, run-scoring single early. He aged 26, Nolan Ryan aged 46. Was he throwing at him? Robin thinks about it and says yes. And watch. And count. Nolan, 6 consecutive punches to the face, and then everyone gets involved in the melee. Ryan just grabbed him like he's going to grab a steer when he brands him, right? 6 consecutive punches, and then the melee ensued after that. The amazing thing in all of this, Ventura was tossed because he charged the mound. He should have been. But Nolan was not, despite throwing enough punches to get you thrown out of an NHL game. Gene Lamont was rightly unhappy. He got tossed, too. Order was restored. Ryan retired 12 of 13 and a big 6th inning. Rafael Palmeiro continues his hot hitting with his 28th homer of the year. 2 hitters later, Gonzalez on first, and Julio Franco cues one to right, and it's a double to the gap. And Gonzalez comes around to score what would be the game-winning run. I mentioned Ryan was still in the game. There is respect for a legend, but it was a travesty that he stayed in the game despite throwing those punches. Gets Matt Marullo striking out. He pitched very well in this game, pitched through 7, got help from the bullpen, including Tom Henke getting Bo Jackson with 2 on, and then Henke closed out the 9th for the save. Texas wins by 3, getting within 5.5 in the West. Nolan Ryan throws career win 322, one that will be remembered for the other things done with the right arm.
I've had a couple of conversations, but nothing of that nature. I think the last one was Dave Winfield back in the National League.
When you saw his moment of indecision, what was going through your mind?
You know, you don't remember what goes through your mind and something like that.
Were you surprised you put him away that easily?
All I know is I was on the bottom of the pile, and it felt like their whole bench was laying on me. I think if I was standing out on the mound and I was throwing at somebody, yeah, I'd think, well, you know, this guy knows I'm throwing at him. But, you know, you're involved in the ball game, and you're trying to make pitches, you're trying to do your job. So, I mean, that's the furthest thing in your mind. You don't even think about it. And if that situation comes up, then you just react to it.
What's your attitude now towards Robin Ventura?
I have nothing against Robin Ventura. That's all in the ball game. You know, that's just part of baseball, and that's what you do, and you go on. And the next time I face him, that won't even cross my mind.
There was a second round there where you went after Lamont. What was going on?
No, that
there?
wasn't Lamont. It was Jack McDowell. He was over his mouthing off, and at that time I'd had enough. And if somebody's got something to say, then, you know, don't stand over behind 4 or 5 players and yell at me.
Wild stuff. For his part, Ventura said, it was no secret Ryan was throwing at me. I have to protect myself no matter who it is. Ryan leads all active pitchers in hit batsmen. This was his first of the year, but he won't reach Walter Johnson's all-time record. Carl?
Now to what was billed as the Battle of the Bronx in view.
It did happen, so they better watch again. Nolan Ryan has thrown 7 no-hitters. Last night, he threw 6 unanswered one-hitters on Robin Ventura's head. Ryan holds a lot of records, but this may be a new one. Most punches thrown without getting thrown out.
You got to do what you got to do. If somebody comes at you, what are you going to do?
What Nolan Ryan did before Robin Ventura charged the mound was to assert that, having been in the big leagues since Ventura was in diapers, he had some license. Maybe Ryan was retaliating for Alex Fernandez hitting slugger Juan Gonzalez the inning before. Maybe he was just backing Ventura off the plate. This we do know. Nolan can take care of himself. As any Texas schoolboy will tell you, you don't charge at a man who owns cattle ranches. Quicker than you can say, big mistake, little doggy. Ryan had Ventura in a headlock and was giving his noggin a knocking. Then the Stampede bowled them over.
You're at the mercy of the rest of those guys because you're down on the ground and you're immobilized. You can't move. I couldn't even breathe, you know, and at that point in time, I just want to get off the bottom of the pile.
It surprised me because I've never seen it happen, you know. I think everyone in the league has respect for Nolan.
Well, somebody did challenge Ryan. In fact, 13 years before, to the day. Having to wear a brown uniform must have been upsetting enough to Dave Winfield, but getting a whisker pitch from Ryan set him off.
After he took a punch at me, and I realized that, you know, if he had connected, he could have really hurt me. So I took the attitude, if anybody else comes out there, I'm not going to be passive about it because they're coming out with the intent to hurt you, and so you have to protect yourself.
Back to Texas, where the rodeo wasn't over. Blackjack did some yapping. Gene Lamont let loose, and the bull was flying around the ring again.
As Jack McDowell, he was over his mouthing off, and at that time I'd had enough. And if somebody's got something to say, then, you know, don't stand over behind 4 or 5 players and yell at them.
For charging the mound, Ventura got ejected. For punching him in the head 6 times, Ryan was not. For not being discreet in protesting the discrepancy, Lamont got the heave-ho. What he missed was Ryan's best performance of the season, a 5-2 win in which he retired 12 of the last 13 men he faced. Texas is back within 5.5 of West leading Chicago, and the legend wants everyone to remember what Robin Ventura found out the hard way. The Texas Rangers always get their man.
We're going to battle all the way, and we have to do what it takes for us to be competitive, and that's just the way we're going to play ball.
Ryan may have been giving away age, but he had Ventura on height, weight, and Ks, not to mention KOs. Although he escaped punishment last night, Ryan still may get slapped by the American League office. That would be the first hand to be laid on him. The doctor who examined Reggie Lewis and presented the second opinion issued a
little chin music, didn't exactly hit him there. Winfield thought about it, pushed Louis Pujols out of the way, pushed the umpire out of the way, and in all of this, Ozzie Smith gets in a cheap shot. He was, of course, then playing for the Padres.
Nothing of that night.